You didn't wake up one morning and decide to forget yourself. It happened slowly. It happened the first time you said yes when you wanted to say no. It happened when you laughed at something that didn't feel funny, just to fit. And it happened when you stayed when every part of you wanted to leave, little by little. You traded tiny pieces of your own voice for approval, for safety, for survival, and the world rewarded you for it. Applause, diplomas, promotions, likes, smiles, invitations. You can't rewrite the past. You can't erase all the ways you abandoned yourself to survive, but you can start now, right here. And it doesn't begin with burning everything down. It begins quietly. It begins when you dare to ask yourself questions you were once too scared to face. What do I actually want? What kind of life would I choose if no one was watching? What would make my younger self proud, or even just curious? You start by listening, not to the loud voices outside but to the small voice inside, the one you buried under layers of shoulds and musts. At first it might sound like nothing, a whisper, a flicker, a faint pulse. But if you give it a chance, it grows louder, not by shouting, not by demanding, but by leading you home, but somewhere along the way. You stopped asking a simple question: is this actually my life? Most people don't lose themselves in one big moment. They lose themselves in 1,000 quiet compromises. And one day, you wake up, successful maybe, stable, probably, but empty, because deep down you know you've been chasing someone else's definition of a good life, not yours. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Your real voice? It never left. It got buried, under obligations, under expectations, under the fear of disappointing everyone but yourself. But if you listen closely, you'll still hear it. Maybe it's a tightness in your chest when you agree to something that feels wrong. Maybe it's that flicker of excitement when you think about the thing you always pushed aside. Maybe it's the quiet sadness when you imagine living the same year over and over again and calling it a life. Your real self has been whispering to you all along. You just got very good at ignoring it. Because survival demands silence, approval demands silence, but your purpose, your real living purpose, demands voice. And reclaiming it isn't about burning everything down. It's about remembering who you were, and before the world taught you to be someone else. You were taught to be kind, to be agreeable, to put others first. And maybe you thought that if you could just make everyone happy, you'd finally feel whole. But you didn't, did you? Instead, every time you said yes to something that broke your own heart, you taught yourself a dangerous lesson. My needs don't matter. You became everyone's anchor, everyone's safe place, everyone's hero except your own. And here's the truth most people won't admit. You can spend your whole life trying to be who the world needs you to be and still feel like you're disappearing a little more every day. Because pleasing everyone comes with a cost paid in the quiet moments, a cost paid in the heavy silences, a cost paid in the mirror when no one's watching. And the longer you pay it, the less of you there is left. You can't rewrite the past. You can't erase all the ways you abandoned yourself to survive. But you can start now, right here. And it doesn't begin with burning everything down. It begins quietly. It begins when you dare to ask yourself questions you were once too scared to face. What do I actually want? What kind of life would I choose if no one was watching? What would make my younger self proud, or even just curious? You start by listening, not to the loud voices outside, but to the small voice inside, the one you buried under layers of shoulds and musts. At first it might sound like nothing. A whisper, a flicker, a faint pulse, but if you give it a chance, it grows louder, not by shouting, not by demanding, but by leading you home. You don't find your purpose in a single lightning moment. You don't stumble into it like a treasure waiting for you under a rock. Purpose isn't an event, it's a process, a slow becoming. It happens in the tiny choices, the small no you finally say when your heart says no, the quiet yes you give yourself when you dare to try, the brave step you take when no one is clapping and no one even sees. Purpose isn't about making the world notice you. It's about building a life that feels true, even if no one else understands it. Maybe it's starting a project no one asked you to start. Maybe it's ending something you outgrew a long time ago. Maybe it's speaking up when you've spent years swallowing your voice. Every real purpose is built one small rebellion at a time. Rebellions that aren't loud, but honest. You don't have to find yourself somewhere far away. You don't have to burn your whole life down. You just have to start listening again. Start trusting that small, stubborn voice inside, the one that's been whispering for years. This is not the end. Purpose isn't waiting for you at the top of some perfect mountain. It's waiting for you right here, in the quiet choice you make today, to live a little truer than you did yesterday. It's not about being loud. It's not about being certain. It's about being yours. Maybe you've spent years living for someone else's dream. Maybe you've forgotten how it even feels to want something real, but you can start again. Tiny steps, honest moves, quiet courage. No applause needed, no permission asked, just you, and the life that finally feels like yours. If any part of this spoke to a piece of you that's been sleeping, leave a comment below and just write, "I'm starting." No big explanations, no perfect plans. Just a simple act of reclaiming your own voice. Because maybe the first real step toward purpose is simply choosing yourself.